Hello, Internet. We are the Bickersons, and welcome to the first episode of the Bickersons channel.
Hello, Internet.
Tonight, the Bickersons are going to discuss if DOGE is effective and if it should continue, or if it's a complete waste of time and money. Am I always a devil's advocate? I'm always a devil's advocate, aren't I?
I think you are. So you're going to advocate for more fraud, or you're going to advocate against DOGE?
Fraud, huh? Can you say Minnesota? But if you happen to be on the left, you don't have any idea what we're talking about because nobody's told you what's going on.
No, they know and they don't care. Just read.
Oh, they know and they just look the other way.
Yeah.
So when Elon and his cohorts were recruited to help weed out fraud in the government, and they started issuing regular results as to what they found, especially with things like USAID, we were all totally shocked. Or were we?
No, not really.
So is it effective? Well, it's saving the taxpayer quite a bit of money. I don't think it's saving as much money as, for example, the tariffs are bringing in that might eventually cause us to pay less income tax and whatever else we have to pay to the government. But, I mean, is it effective? Yeah. I mean, the government was operating in prehistoric times with prehistoric computer systems, and now they're able to sort data and actually identify people that are receiving payments that are dead, whatever else.
So are we only talking about like Medicare fraud, Social Security fraud? Because, there is a wide range of fraud that is currently going on.
Well,
right
if you just start with Medicare fraud and Social Security fraud, you're going to save a large portion of the largest entitlements that the federal government budget has. I mean, it's not going to save Social Security. I mean, not giving away too much about us, but, we're old, but not old enough to be able to enjoy Social Security when we get to that age. I mean, it'll be a miracle if we still have it when we get there, right? So.
Well, from everything that I've been reading, most of our debt is the fraud amount that is happening. Most of our deficits that we are operating on every year can be chalked up to the amount of fraud that is happening. So imagine if we had no deficit.
I don't bite on that. What is our deficit per year? I know we're like 47 trillion in debt, but what's the annual, like 1.7 trillion or 2.1 trillion?
Yes. I think that.
So if we're able to eliminate most of it, we might actually balance the budget.
Right. If we could eliminate all of the fraud all across all of the government programs.
By the way, if you have been lucky enough to find us on the internet, first of all, I apologize. Second of all, go in the comments and let us know where you're from. I'd like to know what kind of reach the internet has. I mean, if you're from a blue state or a red state, if you make $120,000 a year or $15,000 a year, if you're employed or not. These are all great topics we'd like to get into in the future. So go in the little comment box there and let us know.
So I don't have like any numbers like right off the top of my head how it's broken down, but I did read today that the deficits are running at about $1.8 trillion a year, and that the amount of fraud that they are thinking that is happening across all programs is about 1.8 trillion a year. Imagine how we could save Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid even. I mean, if you look at Medicare fraud and you eliminate all of the Medicare fraud, could we possibly come to a time where we have free Medicare for all? I mean, if you eliminate that fraud.
Those are Democrat talking points.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, if you eliminate the fraud, what are you going to do with that money?
Well,
why wouldn't you reinvest it in the American citizens?
I would like to spend a minute talking about the Affordable Care Act or the Unaffordable Care Act, but you know what? That would be a great other video. So
Right.
we'll save that for a couple of days. But assuming that we continue to have some of the same people in office that we have now, yes, I know some of you don't like Donald Trump. Some of you have Trump derangement syndrome. Some of you don't like J.D. Vance. Some of you don't like some of the efficiency that's coming out of the government, some of the fraud that's being cut. But if we continue to work the fraud that they've been working and weeding it out, yes, things can become more efficient. Yes, some of these programs might actually be saved down the road. And I think that combined with some of the plans that have been released about the tariffs, it might actually make it to the point where we don't have to pay near as much tax and we can still get some government benefits.
You mentioned something, and so why would a single payer healthcare not be more efficient than paying all of these insurance companies? We're just having a middleman. The only thing the insurance companies are is a middleman. So the government is giving money to healthcare insurance providers to what? Pay their stock owners?
All right, well, not to go down that rabbit hole yet, because this is not the ACA video, but part of the reason that the American healthcare system is so superior, at least in terms of research and coming out with new drugs, it's not the most superior in providing coverage, but it's because these are for-profit corporations. If you make us all on an exactly even playing field, what incentive do they have to develop new drugs and to try to come up with life-saving treatments that might actually save lives, as opposed to if you're in another country where it's all subsidized, it's all on an equal playing field? I mean, what's the benefit?
Well, I'm not talking about like research and development. I'm talking about insurance companies. Insurance companies don't give grants to the colleges to do research. That's not
That's
their
correct.
purview.
In fact, a lot of the government does that. But
Yes.
circling back around to for-profit insurance companies versus, and we're not
Single
talking.
payer.
We're not necessarily talking about for-profit insurance companies as much as we're talking about research and development, which is what you're talking about.
No.
The
you were
insurance
talking about research and
the
development.
insurance companies, if they were not for-profit, if they, for example, were run entirely by the government and they weren't there to make a profit, they were just there to provide coverage, which I guess we're referring to like Medicare, Medicaid, which some of those I know they're negotiating drug prices with the pharmaceutical companies, supposed to make things better. The Trump announced deal where favored nations supposed to lower the price of all the drugs. None of us have actually seen that yet. I mean, I could see how that could wind up being better. It would eliminate a lot of the incentive for the profit that is probably going into the increased premiums. Lord, we are totally getting away from DOGE and getting into ACA, and that's supposed to be a whole other video. But anyway, back to DOGE. Hi, DOGE. How you doing?
I'm not DOGE.
So, as long as we continue to invest in DOGE, which we are, Elon Musk and the various members of DOGE have said it's now embedded in each department in the government, I think they'll continue to look for waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yes, and eliminating some of the programs might help eliminate them. Well, I mean, eliminating the programs would eliminate the fraud, obviously.
Not particularly. I mean, some programs were clearly fraudulent, but some of them were not. And somebody's got to make that determination based on the spending. Now, when you're in a situation like Minnesota, for example, and you have a ton of whistleblowers saying, the fraud's right here, maybe it helps to look at that as opposed to looking the other direction.
Right, right. And is the Minnesota government looking the other direction, or is it the federal government? I mean, how deep does that go? Because, the federal government is giving the grants, the local government is inspecting the buildings and the child care centers.
Something's going on there. You can't tell me that those got inspected and passed when clearly from that video that was released about a week ago, there's nothing going on there.
And also, a lot of them had building code violations.
Over and over and over.
Over and over and over. And they were still getting all this money.
Yep.
How does that happen? How do you have life-threatening violations and you're still getting money from the government? I mean, something that does not make sense there.
Well, all right, I think that's going to wrap it up for our inaugural video. Like and comment, and stay tuned for more content like this. We have lots of topics that we'd like to bring to you. Again, if you are made it to the end of the video, go on and put a comment about where you are, what state you're in maybe, and we look forward to talking to you more in the future. Sayonara.
Goodbye.